Hello, welcome back to another episode of Mountain Gym Card Collectibles. I hope that if you're into sports cards and card collecting, that you're having a great day. Hopefully, you're not depressed with all the downward spiral that we are seeing in the current sports card market. What I typically get from a lot of these other sports card influencers are that flippers like me are bad for the hobby or whatever. Flipping is down. Yeah, and I'll be honest, flipping is down. And the card collectors are celebrating that for one reason or another. I don't get that. I just think it's the nature of the sports card hobby is to cheer on the failings of others. But as far as this market goes, I may be one of the biggest losers on YouTube for my card collectibles show. I'm not, I don't have a lot of subscribers. I don't get a lot of views. Who knows? I mean, there's a good chance nobody will even watch this one. If anything, I guess it's a journal for myself of where did it all begin to go wrong, or go downhill, I should say. And I would say that it all started going downhill when all the bad actors, all the scammers, all the greedy corporations wanted to take people on a ride, and a lot of those people are working class people like myself that you get into a hobby and you begin to realize, oh, they stacked the deck against me. And what do I mean by stack the deck against you? Well, Topps Fanatics made cards. A hobby box is so expensive that, well, it's either, well, I have to pay my bills, I have to eat, or I can buy a box of cards. For the working class, that's really, what you have to weigh. That's the scale to weigh. And so where the high point of this most recent sports card, non-sports card TCG boom was in 2021 during the pandemic. All I have to do is get on YouTube and watch, some of these, big influencers and, like Alpha Investments, what happened? And I believe what happened is when you have people who are desperate for money, they begin to ask themselves, hey, are sports cards a way that I can actually make a living in the world? And I think during the hobby, you had enough people willing to gamble on that ideology that they said, yeah, or anything it can help us out. And so a lot of people got involved. And they started to find out about the hobby. And once you dig into the hobby, well, you tend to find out it's all about grading. Grading companies want a lot of money. Grading is gambling. Here we see that PSA is down 9% over the last week. At 298,000.1 or 298.1 thousand. CGC is down 4% at 50.5 thousand. SGC is actually up 3%, strangely enough, at 39.4 thousand. But they're part of PSA, so you could just basically put both of them together and say, both of them together, since they are ran and owned by the same corporation, are down 6%. We'll just say that. Beckett, I just don't even know what to say about Beckett. I mean, I don't know what it is about the Beckett slabs anymore. I just see a Beckett slab and I just go, man, can't you guys get a new slab? I just don't know what it is. And other people aren't too happy with Beckett either. But overall, the market's down. Even the high point there, SGC, is really not a high point because it's still owned by the PSA Corporation, which, isn't very good. So really the 39.4, if you figure that out, maybe that'd be 1% of the total, 298, whatever. But you see, my point here is even the high point is drugged down by PSA because they're the same company. So people aren't gambling on grading as much, which is good for the hobby because that means that the slabs can actually have a chance to go up in value instead of being, overly saturated with the constant grading scheme of this world, which I honestly don't agree with the way they grade cards. They grade cards like a machine. My previous episode where I say grade cards like, it's an art appraiser. That's the way you deserve your card to be graded. But anyway, we'll get more into some more data here. And this, I know that you can read the Sports Illustrated article that came out recently about, this kind of free fall in the market, but they're a lot more hopeful for it than I am. Me being a reseller, what I send out today, one offer, that is just... Anyway, I'll be a reseller, but I may not be a reseller of cards. I used to be a body man painter, and I'm kind of getting back into purchasing cards, fixing them up, and reselling them. That's just one of my hobbies. I used to enjoy painting cars, but anyway. There are some things that are going up, strangely enough. Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, TCG, but you see the chart here, but it's a little bump. So even when you just look at Card Ladder and go, hey, something's going up. Well, this is just the past 3 months, Why did the sales just begin to really tank in September? I think a lot of it had to do with the election. A lot of people are worried about their pocketbooks, including me. And so here, the rate of growth is down 15.69%. Your real value change is down 529 points roughly. What is this? 217 total cards? Ouch. So even the good things on Card Ladder that are the high points, like I'll click Pokemon. Pokemon is actually maybe the way to go. I typically don't like Pokemon, but for one reason, that's where the market is right now. I'm not going to go too much further than 3 months, but I know there's a lot of heartache and heartbreak in the market, but then again, we can oversaturate the Pokemon sales market too. Right there, that's 7,510. That's doing much better than Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh's up, but Pokemon is definitely doing good. Real value change is up 920 points. Rate of growth is up 3.89%. If all this data is accurate, that's the thing. Is I know I have gotten into this data, and others have too. And Card Ladder may not necessarily have the closest data, but it's a great marker. I like to look at the PSA data for grading or graded cards on eBay. To me, that's the best indicator of what happened to our market because you can just see it. It's just down, way down since 2021 for the PSA sold slabs. All right, so there are some high points. But if you're into sports cards, well, it's not good. It's just not good at all. We can just kind of go down here. UFC's down. Let's click UFC. Yeah, they're way down in the past 3 months. You can just see it. Down 4.02% and down 169 points roughly from the real value change. So that's one marker. How about hockey? Hockey says it's up. Well, hockey is up, but I have had hockey cards. Good luck with the market. I'm not the best hockey collector, unfortunately, but they are selling. They're up 4.77%, up 362 points. 1,924 cards that this data is based on. So hockey may be the way to go. What else do we have here? How about some racing? Racing overall is down 3.48%. Total of 665 cards, down 73 points for the real value change. So racing, Marvel cards are down. Let's just see what's going on there. They were up, but now they are down for one reason. Still up 0.41%, but obviously the going down's chipped away at their growth. Real value change is up 48 points out of 1,318 cards. So Marvel is kind of going down for one reason. All right. Baseball. Let's check out baseball. Baseball was doing good as expected, and this is kind of typical for baseball, I mean, after the World Series, people just they're moving on, It was up 0.68%. Real value change is up 53 points, and that's a total of 12,276 cards that data is based on. All right. Soccer. Are you into soccer? Maybe it's the way to go. Well, it's very similar to the baseball feeling. Not as big of a crash. Rate of growth is down 1.91%. Down 99 points for the real value change. And that's out of 1,806 cards that this data is based on. Okay. And that's just it. The way that Card Ladder does this, I don't believe they go over all the data. They just, I think they have their points that they look at. Star Wars cards. Overall, Star Wars cards are down, unfortunately. So they are down 4.99%, almost 5%, and that's out of a total of 561 cards that the data is based on, and down 57 points of the real value change. So Star Wars cards may not be the answer. Kind of looks like hockey, Pokemon. It's kind of the way to go right now. And I'm typically not a Pokemon collector. But it seems like, look at that. I mean, maybe I should be rushing out to buy Pokemon. But you know that another 3 months, who knows? They could be way down. Because in that market, like, let's look at One Piece. One Piece, boy, what happened to One Piece cards in the past 3 months? I guess everyone just decided to turn against them. Down almost 10% for the rate of growth, 9.63%, 69 cards sold. That's what the data point is here, 69 cards, and it's down 87 points roughly for the real value change. Not good. Wrestling, what do we have? Wrestling was doing good. I'm not sure. I tend to think that since wrestling, SmackDown got pulled off of Fox, the Fox channel, which is linear, over-the-air, antenna type stuff that most people can view. I think it's hurting the market, to be honest. So anyway, rate of growth is down 5.42% out of 215 cards, and it's down 850 points. But boy, they really had a kind of a boom with these cards here at the end of October for one reason, but it's just a continual crash. So, what to say about that. Let's see, what else do we have? How about basketball? Basketball, maybe that's it. Hockey, Pokemon, and basketball maybe shouldn't be hurt too bad. Rate of growth is up 3.92%. That's out of 16,355 cards that they base this on. That's good. Real value change is up 407 points. So it's that time of year, but usually is that time of year. So let's see, what else? Where's the football at? Football is hiding from me. Where is the football? There we go. Football. All right. Up only 0.88%. This chart, I've looked at this before. This chart really has me scratching my head. Because I was asking myself, why am I not selling as many football cards as I normally do this time of year? Is it because everyone thinks that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl again and everyone else is a bunch of losers? That could possibly be it. That's kind of the downfall of an era of dominance of a certain team. Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, the Kansas City Chiefs. Those are some big names. But yeah, it's up only 8.88%. Real value change is up only 152 points, and that's out of 5,385 cards. But it seems to be crashing, and I just scratch my head about this chart. Why? It's that time of year. I mean, you see footballs or basketball's doing good. Are we getting kind of more buyers for basketball products and football, that may be the case. So something to think about. And I always like to look at these outlier cards. Let's kind of look at some of these outlier cards. These are typically, your vintage stock, your vintage cards. Like this Ted Williams sold for 4,392 cards. Vintage cards, I always recommend just grade them, get them slabbed up. I don't think you should grade every card, especially modern, postmodern, whatever. But when it comes to vintage, slab it up. I always like to look at this chart, and this is just past 3 months, and this kind of worries me because, if you're a card seller and you have some of these cards, these are likely some of the best cards you have to make your money off of, and it's down 0.36% overall out of 21,818 cards that they did the data on. The real value change is down 22 for outliers. So went over that fairly well. Marvel, Star Wars, we hit the best stuff for the most part. The bread and butter kind of cards. So there are high points to look for. If you're a flipper like me, I'm kind of looking at those high points right now going, maybe I should be seriously thinking more Connor Bedard, more Pokemon than I normally do, more basketball, obviously, going over the indexes, at least on Card Ladder. But overall, if you go over, the PSA index, you're going to realize that things are, not as good as they should be, because to me, that's the best index, is the PSA sales index on eBay over Terapeak Research. It's just, if you're out looking for what is the true marker on the full market, I'm telling you, that's probably the best one. You can pull up some other ones. I like to pull up the CGC typically for the comic side, and boy, that one's way down too. So you can see where maybe the upper end of sports card investing is going down. For one reason, I'm not sure why the football card market has taken a beating. That just doesn't make sense. We went over these indexes fairly well. For one reason, people are still in love with the Pokemon. I was surprised to see the basketball and hockey up, but it is that time of year. And, as their seasons wind down, you'll start to see those drop too. So those actually kind of make sense. But for the most part, with what we went over, the market's not doing good. How do you change that? Well, I tend to think you have to change the players who control the market. You have to create a market where you can't just have one company have a license to sell product and they just keep selling product, the same, cards in different, sets throughout the year, like, Topps and Panini has done. That doesn't really do a lot of help. I mean, they just need more licenses so the sports leagues aren't doing card collectors any favors. So we have a lot of unlicensed product out there, and they are quality stuff. Don't get me wrong. I like unlicensed product, but you also have the fact that when you have working class people enter this hobby, I tend to think they get broomed out. That's just me. And they get broomed out because I'm working class too. You get broomed out because you're not allowed to buy hobby boxes. Yeah, you can spend your money on the hobby box, but when you're a working class person, it hurts. It hurts really bad, and other people are just going, it's just not worth it. I mean, you can get in other hobbies, fishing, skiing, whatever, and you're likely going to save money in comparison to sports cards. Sports cards, it's all about the dollars. We went over that. The Jeff Wilson. Anyone like Jeff Wilson with a bunch of money can roll in the hobby and they'll be made a superstar. It doesn't mean if they're experienced. Doesn't mean if they know anything. I mean, to me, sports cards, when you think about guitars, I used to play guitar. Who's the best guitar players I can think of? Well, my favorite is Jimmy Page, Eric Clapton, Eddie Van Halen. There's a few others, but you have to work at it. And if they came into the guitar world with no experience and just started playing guitar and it just sounded rotten as can be, and everyone's, they're still learning, they would not be who they are. But in the sports card market, you come in with a bunch of money and you're inexperienced, and they will prop you up on their shoulders, and that's the nature of the sports card market. And I think that's one of the other problems with the market is it's not fair in that aspect, is it just seems to worship the wealthiest. And at this point, all the markets are hurting because of it, because they have to change. You know, I wish that we could have a presidential election for how the sports card market is ran. How are you going to vote? Are you going to vote for the way it's currently ran, or are you going to vote for change? I'd be voting for change. I want the way it's currently ran out of here. I don't like all the greed from the corporations. I just don't. It's not fair for, you know, your common collectors, you know, your working class people, you know. Anyway, if you have any takes on it, leave a comment. That'd be awesome. I love comments. Thank you to all my subscribers. I'm not sure who I'm talking to because my shows aren't really being watched anymore, and I'm just kind of using them as a journal at this point. But anyway, I hope you have a great day. I'm out of here. Bye.